Well, I'm back, guys. I had a few days off, just me and the missus, on a nice little trip, and, well, all hell breaks loose. People are freaking out because, well, a couple scoopers are saying that Superman is testing poorly, or it's testing well, or I don't know. But I want to talk about it. Yes, we'll probably talk ad nauseum about it over the next couple days on the Watchtower, on social media, and all that. But I want to talk about it here because, well, it's important to understand where these things are coming from and why people are saying this stuff, all right? So let's kind of get into it here. Now, I'm taking this from That Park Place, which, I utilize them quite a bit. It's a really good website. I do enjoy perusing it from time to time. Now, again, I always tell everybody, when it comes to scoopers, when it comes to people who say they have inside information, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to take it with just a little bit of, like, really? Are you sure you know what you're talking about here? Are you sure? Look, so many people have been burned over the last number of years that you can't always take what they're saying as truth, as factual. The scoop game is a ridiculous game. They want to sometimes just get those clicks. And, well, Superman is the talk of the town right now. Absolutely. But what does That Park Place have to say? It says the conversation surrounding James Gunn Superman continues to be a roller coaster. As fresh rumors suggest, the film may not be shaping up as well as Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios had hoped. A recent report from insider Jeff Snyder, he's not an insider, he's a scooper. Don't give him the benefit of the doubt as an insider. Scooper has a more negative connotation to it, so let's just use that word, scooper. I think that's a better word for it, but that's just my opinion. Jeff Snyder has reignited concerns, hinting that the film's internal reception after several, several is more than one, so okay, yes, there's been more than one test screening, I'm sure, but anyways, after several Superman test screenings remains troubling. Conflicting reports on Superman quality. This is specifically what I want to talk about here. It's Jeff Snyder initially shared positive feedback in a newsletter regarding Superman's progress. However, shortly after publishing, he was contacted by a trusted source who contradicted the narrative, warning the film is still struggling. This was, I want to say, about a week and a half ago that all of this happened. And there was talk about it at that time. Now, we have John Campea. Now, John Campea, and I'm not going to play this, but John Campea just yesterday, or the other day, said that he heard that it's tremendously good, that he has sources stating that it's tremendously good. As I say with Jeff Snyder, you have to take it with a grain of salt. The difference here is John Campea is not a scooper. He's not an insider. He is a pop culture commentator, similar to me, similar to your favorite YouTuber who talks pop culture. He is the same type of person. He's just vastly more vastly popular because, he's been doing this for more than a decade. So he may have some insight because he sure does have some contacts. I'm sure he does have some contacts. But he's not a scooper. He's not somebody who likes to scoop things. But people lost their minds about this because they take a look at John Campea and they say, well, the day that the Snyder Cut was announced, he said it wasn't real. Look, I was part of that fandom. I was part of, hey, the Snyder Cut is coming. The Snyder Cut is coming. And then when it came, I was like, see, it's coming. All those people that said it wasn't coming, it's coming. But the one thing that people seem to forget is the people that said that it didn't exist were not wrong. The Snyder Cut did not exist. Not in the shape that so many people were talking about. People kept saying, there is a Snyder Cut. There is a Snyder Cut. No, there was never a Snyder Cut. Hence why they had to spend $70 million plus to get a movie out. Because there wasn't a cut of the film that they could put out. That's what everybody was saying. That's how John Campea was saying it. So to sit there and get mad, well, we can't trust him because he even said that there was no Snyder Cut the day that the Snyder Cut was announced. Okay. Look, I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and defend John Campea. There are many things that he talks about that I don't agree with. You can go back on my Bridging to Geekdom's YouTube channel, and there's a couple videos where I actually attacked some of the things that he said, and it was like, no, I do not agree with this. This is ridiculous, specifically on the Snyderverse things. But when you get down to it, how can you sit here and say, I don't believe John Campea, but I'm going to believe Jeff Snyder? You can't believe one or the other because neither one of them really have a track record of being 100% correct on anything. And that's where I'm getting to the point is they're scoopers. And I say this all the time. You cannot trust scoopers. And John Campea isn't a scooper. Again, he's a commentator. But you can't trust scoopers. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. But let's get down to why this is happening. What is the reason that all of this is going on right now? Because that's the big question here. Why is there so much discussion about Superman but not Fantastic Four? Because obviously, if there's screenings of Superman going on right now, obviously there would be screenings of Fantastic Four. There's screenings of Jurassic World. I mean, there's screenings of Thunderbolts. All these things are going on. But why is it that Superman is getting so much attention? Why are these quote-unquote leaks happening when it comes to information on Superman? Well, I look at it and I say, well, maybe some of these things that are being said aren't true. James Gunn has been really good at keeping things tight with this movie. I mean, go back, with the exception of when they shot things outside for Superman, things were really tight on that movie. Information was really locked down for that movie. Take a look at Supergirl right now. Things are locked down. Lanterns, things are locked down. They're really good at locking stuff down for DC. Why all of a sudden do we think that things aren't going to be locked down right now for Superman? It's because it's the talk of the town. People are talking about Superman because of how big it actually is. People are excited. People want to talk about it. It is the thing to talk about. That's a good thing. That is a good thing when it comes to what the reception and the excitement and what we're going to see come box office. Because I can assure you, this movie is going to do well opening weekend. At the very least, it's going to do very well opening weekend just by what's going on right now. With how much discussion and talk there is right now in March, early March, with how much talk there is about Superman. And none of the other movies that are coming out in summer, but Superman is being talked about this much right now. What that makes me believe is this is the talk of the town. This is the movie that people are most interested in seeing come summer. Granted, there's some negative talk about it, but why does that happen? That's because people want to get clicks. People want clicks on their videos. They want clicks on their articles. So when people are talking about something, yeah, they'll post some good news and they'll post bad news. Bad news typically gets more clicks than good news. So yeah, they'll post good news, they'll post bad news. Look at Jeff Snyder. He flip-flopped. Do I believe he has quote-unquote, connections that could give him a, second-hand account? Like, well, what you heard is not true. It's actually going very poorly. Maybe. Look, I don't know Jeff Snyder at all. But here's the thing. You post one thing, and then you post another. 5 months from now, once the movie's been out, let's say it does well. You can go, see, I told you it was doing well. 5 months from now when the movie comes out and it does poorly, I told you it was doing poorly. And then he can just sit there and say, I know what I'm talking about. And that's the problem with scoopers. That's what they do. They play both sides of things. And that's a problem. John Campea, on the other hand, if you want to go with these two guys right now, John Campea is sticking to one story. He says he heard that it's tremendously good. He's probably going to run with that until it comes out. And if he's wrong, he's wrong. That's it. Just as he did when it was the Snyder Cut. If he's wrong, he's wrong. And he runs with it. So there's two different sides of the coin here. There's the scooper, then you have the commentator. Choose wisely in that. Again, I'm not sitting here saying believe Campy. I'm not sitting here saying believe or not believe Snyder. I don't care what you do. Just take their information with a grain of salt. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is, what are they doing? People are freaking out. James Gunn is now doing reshoots. He's doing pickups. Pickups and reshoots are slightly different, but, in the same vein, in a sort. He wants to do a movie perfectly, as perfect as possible. That's what he's doing. He wants to make this the best damn movie he can make. In my opinion, he's made banger after banger after banger for like the last 5 or 6 projects that he's done. Whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy, all 4 of the Guardians of the Galaxy things he's made, including the holiday special, have been phenomenal. And the weakest one, in my opinion, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And then that's my opinion. Again, it's all subjective. You have the Suicide Squad. You have Peacemaker. You have Creature Commandos, which was great. When I take a look at them, they're all bangers. He is a great writer. I say this all the time. And no, what he does is not for everyone, but he does take care. He takes his time. He makes sure that the film is done well. Even the biggest naysayers of James Gunn will sit there and usually say, I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy, or I enjoyed this. They may say, I don't like Peacemaker, I didn't like the Suicide Squad, but this movie isn't going to be Peacemaker. It's not going to be the Suicide Squad. Hell, it's probably not even going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. But that's the thing. People are not giving him the benefit of the doubt because they miss something. They miss Henry Cavill. They miss Zack Snyder. They miss the old DCEU that failed. And instead of sitting back and acknowledging that and saying, you know what, it failed, it's time to move forward, let's move on, let's see what else can come, they want to sit there, bitch, and complain. But James Gunn is going to make the best movie he can make. If that means he has to do some reshoots, which he typically doesn't do, so be it. Why is that a bad thing? Movies of this scale do reshoots and pickups all the time. It's okay. Yes, he doesn't typically do them. But this is a different monster. This is a movie that he really wants to make sure he gets right. So let him do it. That's the thing. Like, he can sit there and say, I don't typically do reshoots. I don't think I'll have to do reshoots here. Gets into the editing room and is like, you know what? Looks like I may have to do some pickups. And he goes and does pickups and people get mad. No, that should be like, okay, he's seeing that maybe some things can be done better. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Why is that a bad thing? Well, we hear that the screenings are bad. And look, screenings that happen 4, 5, 6 months before a movie comes out are not supposed to be the final cut of the film. Those are the cuts of the film that you're taking a look, seeing how you can rearrange things and make things run more smooth and everything like that. They're not going to be the final edit of the movie. You're missing the music, the pacing isn't right. There's some things that you have to fix. I think people are just blowing it out of proportion because they want to, because they don't want this movie to succeed, because they want Cavill back or they want Zack Snyder back, and that's just not going to happen, and they need to accept that. But let me know your thoughts. I want to know what you have to say in the comments below. Yeah, I'm back, guys, so get ready. Watchtower this week, obviously. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. With all that said, I'll catch you all later.